Hello, folks, and welcome to Last Man Standing. I'm Dan Hollifield, and Bill and I are going to be with you tonight, just talking about whatever we can figure out how to talk. Stupid O'Clock was really outstanding tonight. Thank you, Ryan, for popping in and providing quite a bit of food for thought, as well as interesting and outstanding insight into popular entertainment and your own show as well. And you're very welcome for the plugs there. So here we go. Here's Bill. And
Howdy.
We are just going to sit here and try and top what just happened.
I'm just going to sit here and try to catch my breath, man. I felt we were running a race there at the end with everything.
Well, Ryan has that effect on people, and he bless him, he's absolutely entertaining and absolutely well, I want to say focused, but he's not focused. He's unfocused, but
he's all over the place.
Yes.
And that's what makes him entertaining.
like a Mexican jumping bean on steroids. That's what the boy is. Yeah. He's, bless him, he's just absolutely fantastic. Fun to be around, fun to have on the show, but you do sometimes have to talk over him, and that's unfortunate. But he will, if you've got a point, he will let you make it. And I've got a point, but fortunately, when I wear my hat, nobody can see it. Yes. So
we see it tonight.
Yeah, well. I don't like to put my headphones on over the hat, even though when people see me at a convention, I am wearing the hat. And it is a Greek sailor's hat. So, you just look for the beard, look for the gray hair, look for the hat and the glasses. I'll probably be the one wearing all. So, looking forward to the LibertyCon convention coming up in June. First live convention since the pleasant unpleasantness started 2 years ago, at least for me. We have done virtual conventions in the meantime, both virtual Hallowcon. I did a live Hallowcon last year, so this will be the second live convention, be the first LibertyCon, but not my first live convention. I'm sorry, Joe. I should have remembered that right off the bat, because Hallowcon was an awful lot of fun. I've still got to fill in the form for my dealer's table for next year. It's the only convention that I get a dealer's table at. So believe me, if you want to stop by and start a conversation and hopefully pick up one or two of the books that I put out, that's the place to do that. At LibertyCon, stop me in the hallway and give me some money and I'll give you a book. I might not have it with me, but I'll have some in the room.
Great how that works.
Hey, I do not mind.
Money can't buy you love, but it can get you one of Dan's books.
That's right. And books are love. So.
And speaking of books, what I was going to mention this earlier, and then we kind of did a 90-degree turn onto another subject, but I did want to mention this before I forgot it again. I know, and Carl and Donna wasn't in there tonight, and somebody else, who else I didn't see that normally is in? Oh, Sarah. Didn't see her tonight either. But anyway, I want to mention Carl's second Mad Gasser book is about ready for flight. And I will definitely be picking up my copy of that as soon as that's all ready.
It has been unleashed on an unsuspecting public yet, but
no, I think he's real close. I know he was talking about it,
I
but I
know
don't
he's
know
I
where
know he's
he's
got a proof copy of it.
right.
I just don't
Yep.
know whether or not he's put it. He's hit the publish button yet.
Hmm.
So that if no one has experienced Carl's uh, fiction, although he writes a lot of self-help, well, not self-help manual, but he writes a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff. But
Hmm.
his fiction so far is beginning to take off just a bit, and he deserves his success, and it's well worth reading. Really, it's a I wouldn't hesitate to call it a psychological thriller. Would you?
No, especially considering uh, the career that Carl had for many years. I
Hmm.
think it's kind of right up that alley.
And it is based on a true story,
Yes, it is.
if
Not too
loosely.
awful far from here.
Hmm. So check that out, and also check out Donna's books. They're very well written and cover a wide combination of genres as well.
Hmm.
But I would highly recommend both those writers, as well as
Yeah.
Michaela Jade, Keisha Acuff, um,
Hmm.
well, myself, of course. But there lots of folks out
Seen
there.
a seen a lot of nice artwork from Keisha on her Facebook story,
Yes.
and yes, either yesterday or today. I can't remember. My days are running together um, for everything that we're doing in my other projects that are going on, which is the reason why I won't be able to be here Saturday. So I'm
Ah,
trying to put in a full night tonight to kind of make up for it a little bit. But
well,
we have a
when
lot of things we have to get done in a very short period of time. Um, and then I'll have a lot of things to be done in a longer period of time, but hopefully not too long. And that
Mhm.
I work better as a team, and when part of your dynamic duel is going to have surgery, and
Yes,
it you know,
keep us
and then
posted.
yes, I will. That's coming up the end of this month, and then the
Um,
Monday before that, I'm supposed to have a bone marrow biopsy done.
whoa, that's gonna
Yeah,
hurt.
well, quite possibly, and
Well,
but they're
you do what they
gonna
tell you to do, and it'll be all right.
bend
Um,
over and. But no, I my bestie is going to. She's going to be taking me and bringing me back because it will be out of town, and so we'll. But I'll do it right for her. She she helps me out. Things like, well, she's my emergency contact so, as well as my
yeah.
bestie and everything else. But anyway, yeah, that when uh, I had another procedure done last spring that I got knocked out for on that one, and I had the fast the whole day before getting the procedure done, and then taking those wonderful drinks that make you occupy most of that same day in the bathroom.
Hmm.
And but yeah, colonoscopies are not really fun. But thank God I don't have to go back for 10 years. So
Hey, that's a good waiting period. Let me tell you. We've got Christopher here. Good evening. Yes, indeed, and thank you for being here, Christopher. I am sorry that this afternoon, when you hit me up on Messenger, I was really tired from work and could not carry on a conversation. But That's just one of the hazards of being a working stiff in this day and time. Now, Bill, if you wouldn't mind,
Yeah.
just go ahead and tell people about your shows that you do. I'm going to go over to Messenger and send a special guest an invitation to be here.
Oh, okay.
And I'll still be on the screen, and I will be listening, but I will be just a little bit too busy to actually.
Okay. I didn't know whether you. Okay. I didn't see you jump off the screen, so I wasn't
I'm
saying
not
anything
jumping
yet.
off the
But that
screen. I'm
no.
just typing. So you just go right
Well,
ahead.
right now, for those who don't know me, my name is Bill Sarton. I have a Facebook page called The Artwork of Bill Sarton because I like to draw. And anyway, I do a lot of that. I sell a lot of that. And if you want any of it, you can go to my artwork page. Which is right down here, and you can see the
Mhm.
name of it if you need to spell it
Okay.
correctly. And anyway,
Ah.
but then we have another a little Facebook group called Every Day is Saturday Facebook group, which I didn't start, but I'm one of the admins of, and I seem to be doing a lot more of it on there lately.
And you're very
Uh,
good at it too.
Well, we had a little faux pas with one of our mutual friends, which I won't mention the name because I won't
Mm,
embarrass them. But they posted something in there. It got pulled, and basically, I got, "What'd you do that for?" And I'm like, "I didn't do it." And
Somebody else
so
did it.
found out
No,
who did, located the other admin, found out the reason why, and it was just because the Every Day is Saturday group is about everything about Saturday morning from the 1950s through the 80s. Uh, Nothing newer. Typically, I'll throw in older stuff. I
mhm.
did that tonight with some Warner Brother cartoons.
Well, we have another person joining us, Bill.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you're acquainted with this person or not, but here's Keisha.
Oh, not at all. Have no idea who this is.
Hey, you
Hi
sweetie,
guys.
how's it
How
going?
you doing?
Good. I am working on a painting, so if I look like I'm being weird, I am.
You are okay.
Well,
All right.
and then again, it's late enough for Dolores to actually be asleep, maybe.
Yes, which is why I am painting because I never get uh the chance to paint during the day
These are the
unless
hazards of
Dolores
raising children.
unless Dolores is quote unquote helping me.
With her
Um
fingers.
and I love my daughter, but her help is very helpful.
A little
And
bit more of a hindrance.
ladies and gentlemen, Dolores is the adorable child with a hypersonic squeal. She
How
Yes.
and
old is she now?
Aquaman She and Aquaman could carry on a
4.
conversation and nobody
4.
in the vicinity would be able to hear a thing except certain birds and maybe a couple of dogs.
I think Ryan could hear her probably.
Ryan could probably hear her thoughts.
I think Ryan could respond in the same way, and they could carry on a communication between the two of them that only the two of them would understand or hear.
I know.
Wouldn't
Where
that
is
be
he? I
awesome?
saw him on here earlier, and then I had to put Dolores to bed.
Evidently he
We
did not
we kicked
decide
them
to
out.
cross he did not decide to cross the streams. So
Yeah,
well,
I
people
I
have lives and it's only Thursday. It's not like this was a Friday night or Saturday night show, which it will be later on.
we
The
slid out the ghost trap and we caught Ryan instead in it.
Ah,
So him
oh,
and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is currently occupying space in the other room that Dan has that you don't see, that has that big thing that says "Do not hit this button."
Do not
But
ever hit this button. Please do not ever hit. Big red button. Do not hit. And Keisha, you have a message here.
Oh, hi, Chris. I love Chris because every time I post any of my food pics, he likes them, and I'm like, yes.
That's because he's a starving boy and he needs to eat more and grow up. Or
I
not
love when you
grow
post
up,
all
but
the
grow.
bake stuff because I'm a baker. So I love seeing other related things to that, that especially if I can get ideas how to do something myself, which every Friday I bake something for my bestie to take to the auction with us on Friday nights. And so the one that I did last week is the one she likes the best. My grandmother, when she used to bake homemade pies when I was young, of course, everything was made, as she would call it, from the stump out or from scratch.
Yep.
But, the little Southern grandmother, it's made it from the stump out. So she made homemade pie crust, and she would inevitably always have extra pie crust left over. So she would roll it out, put butter, cinnamon, and sugar, cut it into long strips, and kind of almost roll it like a joint and pinch the ends on it so that all the butter and cinnamon and sugar doesn't leak out, and put it on a cookie sheet in the oven for about a half hour at 350. And you had some of the best tasting pie crust cinnamon rolls in the world. Super wonderful. So though I cheat and don't make my own pie crust, I will turn around and use a box pie crust to make everything else homemade.
Surprisingly, pie crust is extremely easy, though.
Yes.
Me, it's getting the right ratio.
But it's made with love. That's what makes it good.
The wet-dry ratio is
man, Keisha makes him hungry when she posts those photos of food, vegetables, and desserts. Yep, you're right. You're right. And I've got an excellent cook in the house, but Keisha's cooking is well,
So you guys want to know the funny thing?
So, yes.
So I am the only one in my family that eats any of the food I cook.
You're kidding me.
My husband strictly only eats like chicken strips, pepperoni pizza, French fries, and he only drinks soda. So all of those food pics that you see, I either make for, if it has actual meat in it, it's normally for friends or a party or something that I'm hosting. But any of the anything that has veggies in it or anything that looks like food, my family won't eat it.
No wonder your husband looks like a walking skeleton.
Hey, he's like a whole 140 pounds. Thank you very much.
That's like Barney 5.
He's 5'10", 5'11".
Oh, okay. He's a little taller than Barney.
Yep, I'm 5'11" and 190 pounds, and I'll eat anything you cook, even if it doesn't have meat in it. As long as you don't tell my wife.
Okay.
Because I got to eat anything she cooks, too. Which is why I'm probably going to hit 250 here in the next year. Oh, my wife is a good cook. She's been making me biscuits. She's been baking biscuits, and she was going to do cornbread today, but there were household cleaning issues that came up. We've got some kind of winged ants that are coming up through the floor, and she's been having to vacuum them up as soon as they appear. And she did not want to be baking cornbread with this and risking the possibility of some of them actually getting into the batter before it goes in the oven. So,
Oh, that's just protein.
For you, maybe.
I know it's a lot warmer down there than it is up here in Illinois, especially right now, as Keisha could probably attest to. We're back we're in winter again.
Yeah, we're in like what, third winter now?
Yeah, it's third or fourth, and they're
Oh, so
talking maybe
you've only got
snow.
2 more. You've only got 2 more to go before you get your 2 days of spring.
Yeah, snow by morning. No, that's up in Ted Davies' territory. Ted Davies might as well be living up in Alaska or something where he has 6 hours of summer. But
Oh,
no,
no.
what I was going to mention about your problem with the ants, I think you said ants, did you?
Mhm.
Or okay, in an orange bag, if you go to your local Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, whatever you have down there, Ace Hardware, in an orange bag they have, it's called Terro, Terro, and it is a dry granular ant guard that you basically sprinkle around the perimeter of your house and probably go a little bit heavy where you're seeing the ants coming through. So say if they're coming up through pipes or around holes by your kitchen and plumbing coming up or whatever, you sprinkle that on the outside. This is solely outside. And if you do it a day before it rains, then when it rains, it'll let it soak down in there. And that will help matters. Of course, you'll want to continue to do what you need to do on the inside with the ant traps and such, but that'll help prevent from more coming in.
We have been using boric acid because they're coming out from the baseboards of the floor, of the walls,
and I believe boric acid is in a lot of those ant traps anyway.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I have been thinking was to get some more diatomaceous earth, which is
use that stuff for everything.
It absorbs water and it causes insects to basically act like popcorn kernels on high heat.
Oh, but it is safe for animals. So we actually use it in our barn to keep the mites and stuff like that off of our chickens. We have a little like kiddie pool full of dermataceous earth in there, so that way they can take some dust baths, and even just walking through it, that way it keeps them healthier. Also, it's good for them to eat. I did not know that, but
if they have any issues
they would get
with
dehydrated, wouldn't they?
I don't know. I guess it's like just added minerals, like adding minerals to their food. I don't see mine eat it a bunch, but they use it for a dust bath, so I imagine it gets in their mouth at some point.
Well, we don't have any chickens, but we do have a lot of cats, and my wife is really worried about the cats getting into anything. That's why we're using the boric acid rather than some actual more chemical methods of insect control.
Diatomaceous earth is even safe. It's safe for pets and children. It's even safe for human consumption. Not that you would. So Lindsay, don't put any of that in his cornbread. But
the kind that I buy is all organic, and on the thing it says food grade.
Mm-hmm. So when an insect,
I know that Boris Karloff used to use it in some of his monster makeup.
Well,
to give his skin a little bit more pale and spectral appearance. I think he used it a lot with the Mummy movie, and it wasn't to induce wrinkles by dehydrating them. It was pretty much just for the change his normal healthy skin tone to mummified looking in a black and white movie skin tone.
Well, one thing you got to remember about diatomaceous earth is that if you put it out to use for an organic alternative to insect control, when the insects eat it, it rips them out from the insides because they're actually shards. They're very sharp shards. The diatomaceous earth.
They're
And
diatoms. They're microscopic skeletons of
mhm,
the same sort of things that whales would eat on.
mhm,
Uh, what do you say? What do you say? Still moisturized, not dehydrated, rather.
mhm.
But these are. It's sort of like gypsum is sold as plaster of Paris, and diatomaceous earth is basically the skeletons of diatoms that have been
Mhm.
dried out for thousands of years and no water in it whatsoever. So it absorbs water, a lot of water, real quickly, and that's what does in the insects. Plankton, thank you, Chris. Plankton,
Yep.
yes. Diatoms are even smaller than plankton, and they're same sort of little animals, but microscopic. Learn something every
Well,
day on this show, don't you?
yeah. Well,
Isn't that the point?
Laura's dad
Yeah.
is having an issue with some ants right now, and we're doing the traps right at the moment. But when it gets warm enough and eventually dry enough, because we're getting kind of swamped out, and where he lives, there's a lot of low land in there, and it's easy to just that builds up, and then you have every insect trying to get inside.
Excuse me a second. I think one of the cats wants in the room so that he can use the litter box. I'm not even going to turn the camera off. I'm just going to step away and open the door.
That's okay. I'll talk to Bill.
I thought he was going to say one of the cats wants in the room so he could take over the broadcast. And I'm like, oh, cool, man.
Nice.
This is going to be great.
Oh, Mr. Artist, did you see my latest painting?
I saw several on your Facebook story. We were just actually talking about that at the end of Stupid O'Clock.
Oh, I didn't see it. Shucks.
You had several on there.
Yeah. The one that I made last night was this one.
Yes. Which, do you know who that looks like to me?
Hillary.
By the face. There's a certain political celebrity that I think you captured. It looks like Hillary Clinton. It really, really does.
That was my thought too.
Did you get that, Dan?
Yep.
I think she really.
She's looking at Bill and going, "Oh no, not again."
Hey, look, Dan, Hillary Clinton's on the show tonight. And she's crying.
Like I said, look at
Bill cheated on her again, I guess.
Yeah. So it's actually the photo that I used. Let me see if I can bring it up real quick. Is actually of a Ukrainian woman crying.
Okay.
One of the more recent.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find it.
Well, that makes an enormous amount of sense, actually. And yes, I did, with headphones on, with a door closed, hear a cat wanting to come in and use the litter box.
So this is the photo I used as reference.
Mm-hmm. You can see the pain in her eyes. Yeah. Very, very good. Very, very good.
So I'm actually I am working on some entries for an anthology that I'm working on. And that's one of the ones because we're doing things that are going on in the world right now. Basically, masks are coming off, vaccinations, the war, that kind of stuff. So we're just doing a big menage of poetry, artwork, short stories and stuff.
Okay.
And so that's one of my paintings that I'm going to put into the anthology this year. So
Yeah, you've mentioned being in several of those in the past.
I am in 4 different anthologies.
Hmm.
4 different anthologies for my writing, um, and my artwork, because I have a couple of them that I have just writing in, a couple of them that I have artwork in and writing in. But I'm in about 10 anthologies just for art, because I do this thing, not nonprofit thing every year. It's actually getting ready to come up right now. Um, but it's called TAE, and basically you donate your artwork to Twitter Art Exhibit, and then they sell the artwork at a big gallery, and all the money that they raise from your artwork goes to a different cause each year. Um, I wish I had the little thingy next to me. I don't remember what it's for this year.
Are
Encephalitis
you
or something like that is what it's
are
going
you
towards this year.
are you allowed to save a copy and make prints for you to sell later yourself?
Um, yes. So it's not. It basically. I have a couple of or a couple of my. I tend to save it or send in like my favorite artwork, and then
Hmm.
I cry a little bit inside. Um, but a couple of them that I've done are some of my favorite art pieces. So what I do is I'll take a really good photo of it if I can, and then I don't make actual prints yet cuz I haven't seen a need to, but I make like little stickers and pins and stuff like that out of them. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but I've got t-shirts and bags and stuff like that with all of my one of my most, I guess, sought after pieces of art is the one that I use all the time for my ACUF creations, and it's a picture of a girl that I drew a couple years ago. That was actually for a TAE like 3 years ago, I think. But at the end of the exhibit, after they sell all the artwork and stuff like that, what they do is they compile all of the artwork and they make it into a really, really nice book just of all the beautiful artwork together.
I
And
have
so
I have been
I've got
on
a
shows
lot
where
of
you have
those.
showed examples of that, and they are very nicely done books. I can
Yes.
say yes.
But shipping internationally, oh my, because every year they have it in a different location. So like we've had it in the UK, we've had it in the US, we've had it in basically wherever that year is going to be. And
Hmm.
like I think last year was Scotland, or this year I don't know. I'd have to check again. Or no, maybe this year is New Hampshire. I have no idea where it is. Sometimes it's in the states, sometimes it's out of the states. I forgot to check.
That
Um,
that country of New Hampshire.
no, sometimes it's in the states. So, like a couple years ago, we had one in North Carolina. Um, but it's always super fun to do, and they actually do a really nice gala and everything for it. And the people who contribute, like myself, are invited to go to said gala, but I normally don't have the money to hop on a plane and go to Scotland for a day or two and then come home. So
As
I
you
wish I
do.
did.
But at least your artwork's there.
Yeah, and they do take
Yeah.
really nice photos of all of the gallery stuff. So, it's like, hey, my artwork has been in galleries literally all over the world now.
Hmm.
Which is kind of weird and grosses me out. But I don't like my
Well,
stuff being out there. I'm really
oh
weird. Um, I
no,
share
you're
my
really
stuff like
shy.
crazy. I share my stuff like crazy, but there is so much that you guys do not see because I don't actually like 95%. Um, the one that I did last night, I spent a good hour debating on whether I hated this and I never wanted to show anybody or not. because I was like, nah. I did a live on it, and last night on my show, I did a live of me actually painting this, and my my phone died halfway through, and so if if you guys have ever worked with watercolor, you have to work in layers, and I was only on my first layer, and it looked atrocious. It was awful. I was like, oh my gosh, I hate this, and now everybody's gonna be like, look, that is not good. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna post a picture. That way people think I'm at least okay-ish at art.
And here, all the feedback you've gotten on it is that it's wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you. I still feel weird about putting myself out there. So.
Oh, all of us do. Bill, don't you get butterflies when you post some of your artwork?
I have them pinned up in a frame on the wall. I have a wonderful butterfly collection right next to my Indian arrowhead collection from my Boy Scout days or Cub Scout days.
I meant butterflies in your stomach about posting your stuff publicly.
But Keisha, you mentioned about the watercolor and making the mistakes and everything. Typically, my stuff that I do with Prismacolor pencils. I'll do with Copic or Azure artist markers, paint markers, the alcohol-based ones that you can blend with. And I had a super big faux pas, about a week ago. Even though my computer desk here is supposed to double as my art desk, I have it so cluttered with computer related stuff, and then of course I've also got toys everywhere all over God's creation here too, but that are cluttering things up, which I'm going to do something about that soon. I end up not having any room to do any artwork here anymore. And so I've been doing it at the kitchen table. However, one night when I did, I can't remember what I was working on, but I was working on a piece that I was using the alcohol-based markers. And I have a little folded over piece of paper, or a couple of them, that I use to test out certain ones to make sure it's the color I want. And then I do some test blendings and stuff if I'm going to do blending. Well, what I didn't realize, and of course, yes, dummy me, I had the tablecloth still on the table. And I think you know where I'm going with this. That I picked up the piece of paper, and underneath there is about this big around a big blue stain in my mother's 40-some-year-old red and white checkered tablecloth that I've been painstakingly trying to keep as good as possible. And I was totally freaking out. Now, I will fast forward to how I got the stain out. And after using various other methods, cheap hairspray, and I mean it has to be, the cheaper the hairspray, the more alcohol is in it. And you soak both sides, let it set for a few minutes, and then just with your hands like this, gently scrub, or you can use a brush that's not too abrasive. And
so I'm one of those people where I actually have a cover that you can probably see in a lot of my pictures that I take in my art. I have a piece of fabric that sits on my art or my desk. Because instead of actually using my art desk for art, it is currently just stacked full of random stuff in my bedroom. So I'm using my computer desk as my art desk right now. And so I have this cover on my art desk, and I didn't have anything to wipe off my brushes the other day. So I just started using the fabric that's on my art desk. Because I don't know. When I have this problem when I'm arting, I get super into doing whatever art project I'm doing, and I won't take the time to go get something. Like even if I'm wearing, like, this is a brand new shirt, even if I'm wearing it, if I need to clean off a brush and I don't have something next to me, it automatically goes on my clothes or whatever I have to dry it off. I actually have the pair of pants that I wore earlier, because wearing pants at night is irrelevant. But the pair of pants, the pair of pants I wore today were actually my favorite pair of jeans, and I accidentally did the stupid thing and I painted in my jeans. And then instead of going and getting a washcloth or paper towel or something like that to wipe off the paint, I used my pants. So now they have like brown paint all over randomly. I'm like, well, at least you guys know I paint, right?
Now,
It
now
looks
you
like
put,
dried blood. That's all I was worried about.
she's put a new fear into me that I'm going to get something on my $70 pair of Levi's 505s now from a Copic marker that got loose from my hand and dropped on my leg or something.
See, just do what I do. I buy all my clothes secondhand. So my favorite pair of jeans I got for $5 at the secondhand store.
Well, I do that occasionally. I've gone, well, not so much to Goodwill anymore, but they have one over in Champaign and Urbana, actually two stores called Salt and Light Ministries. And Salt and Light is very much like how Goodwill used to be until they got too profitable. And they work at putting other people to work and allowing people.
Sort of like Potter's House, or
Yeah, and you can get a $70 pair of Levi's 505s for about $6.97 instead. And so yes, I do occasionally look for. As a matter of fact, last Saturday, when I took my 13-year-old niece out for our little day in Champaign, that was one of the stops that we made, and she got a really nice pair of black Under Armour brand. They're like shorts. She's going to wear them to play volleyball in this year or something. And for $4. So, we do look for the deals occasionally.
Yep, back when Lindsay and I were first getting into steampunk, we went down to Potter's House one day, and I found a tailcoat tuxedo jacket in my size for $5. So I went to a website called Uniform Warehouse, and I bought the rest of the tuxedo to go with it. So now, 40 pounds ago, I had 4 tuxedos. Well, 3 that I could wear, and one that my mother sewed for me to go to my high school prom back in the 70s. And Lord knows I'll never fit into that one again, but I'm not getting rid of it because Mom made it.
And Keisha's saying right now, gee, I've never seen a penguin in a mustache and beard before.
That would be a lie. I'm pretty sure I've seen one. I watched Madagascar.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I had a similar, I guess, deal, Dan, back in the 90s when I was married. We had a Goodwill store over in Clinton, Indiana. That was actually a fairly decent one at the time. And I had got a dark blue, or no, actually it was a dark gray with a blue pinstripe in it, a 3-piece suit for $15. I thought, oh, this looks great. And at the time, the woman said, well, why don't you go in the fitting room and try it on? Yeah, I don't know. It looks like my size, but I'm sure it's not. It's fit like it was made for me. I love that 3-piece suit,
Mhm.
and I constantly bragged about where I bought it and how much I paid for it.
As you do.
Mhm.
So I do the same thing though. But unfortunately I don't wear suits. Maybe I should wear more suits.
Um,
But the profile picture that I posted the other day, of me with
Mhm.
I got a new dress and I was really excited about it because I was like, yay, new dress. And somebody was like, oh my gosh, I love your dress. And I was like, yeah, it was only like $16 at Ross because I'm really cheap. And normally people are like, oh, I only spent like $100 on it. And I die a little bit inside when people say that because I'm like, that's my entire wardrobe for like the next 10 years. That's how much I spend on my I still wear the pants that I'm wearing right now are pants that I actually got when I was in high school. Um there's more holes in the pants than pants, but I refuse to get rid of them cuz I still wear them.
For the first time in a long time, I could, if I had any of my pants that I had in high school, I can now wear them again because of the weight loss I've gone through in about the last 14, 15 months. And everybody's like, what are you doing? Are you doing keto? Or are you doing Atkins? What are you doing? I said, I'm doing whatever I want. I mean, okay, not that I eat a bunch of it because this is it. Look at this.
mm,
Oh,
Tons
those are
of
delicious.
candy. And yes, that'll sit in my fridge for a long time. We used to take it with us
Cake
to the
water.
auction. Yeah. And
yeah,
but
really.
everything in moderation. So I have a piece of candy before I go to bed or earlier in the day or whatever. I drink vitamin water all day long, and uh, 1 cup of coffee in the morning. Although now I've heard that numerous cups of coffee is actually better for you than just one.
Is
And
that an
apparently,
excuse for me to drink more coffee?
yes, and
Like
apparently
I
it's good.
needed an excuse.
It's good for your heart too by drinking. They said 4 to 5 cups a day. I heard this on WBBM about 3 days ago, and I'm
That's a
texting
little
Laura.
excessive.
Laura, we have a reason now.
I'm going to be immortal. I
That's
drink
about
about a
it.
gallon.
Wait,
I drink about
do
a
you guys
gallon of coffee a day.
do
Ugh.
you
Well,
guys
some of
realize
that
how much
coffee
more
that,
writing and art I could get done?
Oh,
Who needs sleep?
here you.
maybe there's a bunch of formaldehyde in the coffee, and we're just kind of preserving ourselves early on or something.
I don't know.
I'm
I
fine with that.
spend a lot of my time getting pickled, but that's neither here nor there. Keisha, you may not have ever seen any of my artwork.
I don't
I
think
know
I
Bill has seen a little bit,
Mhm.
I've
not
heard you
much, a
talk
little
about it
bit.
before. I know you said that you used to paint on like didn't you paint something on a velvet of like somebody
I
famous or something like that?
Somebody commissioned me to do an Elvis Presley painting, but
That's what it was.
it wasn't on velvet. But I'll show
Okay.
you that. But this is what used to be the painting on the back of my motorcycle jacket.
I don't have my glasses on, so.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
Now that this is actually from a photograph from a NASA moon mission. I think it was um, Apollo 11. I'm not sure, but it's also that there was a version of this done as an album cover for 1001 Strings orchestral science fiction music that they were doing different soundtrack stuff. But that, in the faceplate of the astronaut, there was a guy surfing. Well, in this one that I did, it's my dad and myself on my dad's stingray fishing ski boat out fishing one day. So
Hey, it's nice though.
yeah, well,
Okay,
and it
now show her the one that I want you to show her.
oh the Elvis.
No, Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy. Okay. Uh, let me back up here. And yeah, that
This
one,
one's my favorite, Keisha.
this one, my son, my oldest stepson demands that I leave it to him um, in my will. And Lindsay is kind of gonna go along with it. But this is from a 12 by 12 foot, 12 by 12 foot, 12 by 12 inch album cover, regular album cover, and it was all sepia tone except for the little bird, and I did it and colorized it, the whole thing. And I have recently seen a photograph, and the only thing I got wrong was the color of the headband. And I think it's one of the best things I've ever done.
Oh, nice.
I
Which
really love that one.
Okay,
And
I
that
think
I'm
I have seen that
thinking,
one. Either
that
that
one
or
took
if it's just super close to the original and that's why I think I've seen it.
I put it on Facebook several times, so you might have seen it there. This one took me an entire 3 days to paint.
Um,
and Jimmy wore several different styles of headbands, and I'm thinking
In the
that he did have a yellow one that I maybe not that was posed for this picture, or taken
I have
from this, but
I have seen the original photograph, and it was a red head.
right, right, and that's the one he was most famous for
Hmm.
was the red bandana.
And let me see. Okay, this is. Oh, I love the idea of this one, but it. Um, okay, there's not a lot I can say, but I did get paid for doing this, so it's just one of those things. I got $50 for doing this one, and it took me a while, but uh, one more click, one more click. Elvis on a Stairway to Heaven.
nice.
Oh, I like that.
Well, the Elvis was from an album cover. Um, the guy that commissioned the painting, he wanted Elvis on a Stairway to Heaven, and this is the best I could come up with. And you see in the audience, you just see the silhouettes of the audience, and all of the steps on the Stairway to Heaven. There's no connection. There's no stair rails. There's no nothing, and it goes all the way up to the pearly gates, and the rays of light coming out from the pearly gates were actually done in bioluminescent paint that soaks up sunlight and glows at night. So,
So, when did you make this one?
back in the 70s or 80s.
Okay, so I was telling myself that in my head that definitely looks like a 70s type of painting.
Yep.
Cuz my aunt has a ton of stuff like that. And I was like,
Hey, Chris. Yep.
they used a lot of the glowing
Yeah. Well,
paints and
uh,
stuff.
actually, when I was doing the black for the silhouettes of the audience, I was using uh, a very cheap brand of black oil paint, and instead of using one of the standard oil paint mixers that one would do. I used crankcase oil. So I was able to go in there a week after I painted the silhouettes and add little details.
Oh.
It was nice. The painting had to dry for about 3 months before I was able to give it to the guy and he was able to frame it and hang it up.
See, I feel like I don't have enough patience to be a really good artist because all of the artwork that I do has to be done within an hour. Like this one right here that I did last night, I started it and finished it within an hour, which is why I like watercolor because it dries so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And because if it takes any longer amounts of time, I'm either sleeping or there's a child that needs my attention. So I'm like, okay, I want something that I can sit down, start, and finish all in one sitting. So I imagine I would probably be a better or an okay-ish artist if I took my time with anything.
Well,
I think you're fine as it is, but that's just
yeah, I definitely agree. You are outstanding the way you are. And every artist thinks that, oh, now that I'm finished with this, I could do it better if I started over again. And then again, being in a hurry to get finished is sometimes it's a good thing, and sometimes it is somewhat less
I
than
have
good,
paintings all around me that I know if I would have just taken my time, they probably would have turned out well, but they just suck. They will never see the light of day.
Yeah,
kids and whatnot.
Well,
Dan, I'm having problems with my share button, and so I posted one of my pieces in the Stupid O'Clock link, and maybe you can pull it up on there. I've been trying. I basically it's saying it's having a problem recognizing it or whatever, and I don't know if it's because I don't have controls or anything, but I thought, I still have the share button that we talked about the last time, and
it should work, but it's got a lot of steps you have to go through to be able to do it.
yeah.
I'll look that up right after this. This is something that I use, and if you have looked at the Aphelion page or my personal page, you might have seen this one before. I did this as the centerpiece for a bar, and it has yet to be used as the centerpiece for a bar, but it's been on the wall in the house for a long time. Right now, it is taken down and folded up so we can one day repaint the walls in the bedroom. One day, but it's one of those things where this is supposed to be one frame of an animated film. And I will never do any of the other frames, but basically it shows this little Space Ghost inspired hopper there taking off and following its little swirly path away from the North Pole of some moon. And then all the little craters and everything. Some of them actually look more realistic than others. I put that down to the ones that look realistic were the ones I painted the first day, and the ones that don't look so realistic came on the other couple of days. But I actually wound up, you can't see the detail in here, but in the astronaut's helmet, there is a reflection of all the controls that are inside his little spaceship. And I wound up using a magnifying glass and a 000 brush to paint the reflections on the copper surface of the helmet.
Well,
yeah, very nice.
Do you guys want to see something that never made the light of day?
Sure.
So this guy, he's pretty cute. It's just a pencil sketch. But this is like my notebook of things that like I sketch out a lot of my abstract art that I like to do, like that I want to do bigger or something like that. I generally try to sketch out a smaller version of it before I work with a bit. So this book is literally just filled with scribbles.
Oh,
That's, well, hey, those things add up. I know that Ron Ferdinand on a daily basis, and he's the guy who does Dennis the Menace. He took over from Hank Ketchum. And there are so many pieces that's gone up for sale on eBay, at heritage auctions, everything else that are just like what you're showing us right now. It could be rough sketches of Dennis and Mr. Wilson, or Ruff the dog, or whatever, and he'll show other people. Mort Drucker, who did a lot of the artwork in Cracked magazine and Mad magazine, and that, especially all the celebrity sketches, which Mort was just the best at. And you wouldn't believe what some of the roughs would go to, or how high they would go on the auction circuit.
Now here's the one.
So I just have to wait till I'm super famous.
Here's the one that Bill wanted to share.
So if there's any sketch of mine that I'll never sell, will be this one of Adam West.
Wow. That's good.
And I had it in a frame once, and then I dropped the darn frame and broke it. So I've yet to put it in another frame, but I will eventually. But that's, anybody who knows me, I've probably drawn Batman more than I ever have anything else in my life, only because I've been drawing Batman since I was old enough to hold a pencil in my hand, and get in trouble for drawing Batman on the walls in my bedroom or something, but which that did happen.
Hey, I wouldn't doubt it at all. I've done,
but that'll be the one. Yeah, that'll be the one I'll probably always keep. And then when I die, I'm either going to will it to Laura or whatever, or it ends up going into an auction and what have you. But the main thing, though, and I guess I want to get back to this because of what Keisha was saying about being famous and not being famous, and that, or how good your art is as opposed to how bad you think it is. You need one or two people. You're always going to have a lot of people that when you post your art in social media, that you're going to have these people saying, great, amazing, love it. And it's always typically, a lot of them are the same answers over and over, which leads you to believe, I'm wondering if they're saying that because my work is good, they really like it, or if they're just trying to be supportive of me, or both. Yeah, they're just being nice. You don't know. And so before I ever post anything, and that doesn't mean that everything I post is only the best, because believe me, it's not by any means. The one I did today of Batman and Robin from the animated intro of the Batman TV series was not my best, but my bestie, she is also my conscience as far as what's good or bad about some. I know she will tell me the truth. I know she's not going to try to make me feel good because we're best friends. I know that if there is a problem with something, she is going to come right out. And even if I think, oh man, this is great. Yeah, but Bill, you need to do more of this, or this didn't look quite right, or that color was a little bit off, or what. She will say that. And there have been a couple times I'm like, ugh, God, why did she have to say? But I am pleased as punch that she does, because at the same time, there have been several occasions where I'm about ready to scrap something. I'll show it to her first, and I'll say, yeah, I know I could do better. This is just what I'm probably I'm not going to do anything with it. No, I like that, because it shows your progress. Or I like it for whatever reason that she gives me. I know, I believe her. I believe her because, she's, you don't have to wear the boots around her, and she's not going to be shoveling anything but the truth. And so you need at least one person, a friend of yours,
I need
or
brutally honest friends is what I need.
yeah, or or whether it's
We are
one of
brutally
your relatives or what have you.
good. That's all it takes.
Yeah, but Dan, Bill, I have a feeling that you guys would love like anything that I do.
No, not anything.
No.
If we
Okay,
didn't
thank
like
you.
something, we would tell you.
Well, tell
But
me.
but here's the thing.
You just haven't shown us anything that we hate yet.
See, that's why I question things.
Are you ready to take criticism?
Yes. So
Constructive
actually,
criticism, not somebody just trying to bash you, but I mean actual constructive criticism.
You guys are aware that I published my book, obviously.
I have
So
it.
I was extremely excited the second that I got a bad review, because it meant that not just everybody was going, "Oh, thanks, I love it." It was only a 3-star, which still isn't like the end of the world. It wasn't like a 1-star or putting a 1-star and going, "I couldn't do any less because it won't let me."
Was there a written comment with that?
Yes. And I was very thankful, because they were like, "Look, it's a little all over the place," which if y'all have met me, you know that I'm a little all over the place. That's just who I am as a person. And so I was like, okay, so they actually read it first of all, and then they actually gave me criticism. It wasn't, "This was awful. I hate it. I wish I could send it back." It was, "Hey, some of the areas were a little all over the place, but not a bad book overall," kind of thing. And I was like, see, thank you, because every rating that I was getting, don't get me wrong, I loved the fact that I was getting any type of rating, but everybody was just giving me 5 stars, and I loved the book. I actually have no idea who wrote it, but somebody wrote on there, because it was like an anonymous or something like that. And somebody was like, "This is one of the best books I've ever read. Everybody should buy it." And I was like, I have no idea who posted this. I messaged all of my best friends and stuff like that, and I was like, "Did you guys post this? Because it's a 5-star and it's a really nice review, but like, okay." I was like, I don't trust it. But yeah, I know.
And Keisha, it was a very good first effort.
Yeah.
For a first book, it was very good.
Well, I'm extremely critical about it.
But
because
the ending did seem just a little bit rushed in the last couple of pages. But everything that preceded it was in a logical, very, very well-defined path. The only objection I had to it ever was it was right there at the end, and I go, whoa, that came out of left field. But yeah, that's exactly the way it would work if this were real life. But real life doesn't follow literary conventions.
Now, my take on go ahead.
Just to illustrate, you were talking about using watercolor. This is one of mine that I absolutely hate, and other people like it for some strange reason. I don't know why. I don't think I think I could have done much better, but this was high school, and I had not done. I've never done much with watercolor. My mother swears up and down she just hates working with watercolor, and the few things that she's done are absolutely beautiful. But this does not fall into that category whatsoever. But
Oh, I
this,
like that.
okay, now look, science fiction fans, look down in the lower right hand corner.
Yeah, it looks like a possibly a spaceship with some fin work there on the top.
Have you ever seen the TV series Land of the Giants?
Mm-hmm.
That is the
A
spin.
long time ago.
That is the spindrift. I was very careful with that, and I was
Mhm.
not careful with the vegetation. But you can see the color goes all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like I slapped on a background mix of colors and then drew something to fill it in. And I've never liked this, but
Well,
other people do, and maybe they're seeing more into it than what I do as the person that did it in art class for a grade.
it's all right. I probably would prefer a different color combination of the background, but overall, it's not bad.
Like I said, I rarely ever touch watercolor, and this is one of the few times I did that has been saved for posterity. There's a couple of oil paintings that I did that never got photographed that I wish had been, but
Mhm.
they got sold, so
Yeah.
I'll never see them. But there's one that got bought up by a next door neighbor at a housewarming party. I had just finished the darn thing, and he walks up and looks at it, and it's still sitting on the easel there, and he goes,
Mhm.
"I'll give you $50 for this." I go, "Sold." I never got a photograph of it once it was finished.
Mhm.
I really loved one of the space themed things that I did. And I very meticulously followed a a photo of Jupiter, and
Mhm.
the cloud surfaces and everything, and
Mhm.
then put in some sci-fi elements. And I really liked that one, but I never got a photograph of it. There was one in high school that my mom was pissed at my art teacher because she submitted it to one of the local hospitals, and it is now in their permanent rotation as an art exhibit, and it gets shown every couple of years because it's a big hospital. They rotate the artwork around, but this
Cool.
is something that mom saw it before I turned it in, and she wanted it, but the
Mhm.
teacher turned it over to the hospital, and I didn't have
Mhm.
any say so in it whatsoever. But
Yeah.
you and I never got a photograph of it, so I can't put it in the portfolio. Then there was a lot of stuff in my portfolio from college. Had a broken water pipe in the mobile home that I was living in, and all of my college artwork got destroyed
Ooh.
before I
Um,
found out the water pipe was leaking.
mhm.
It was just on the opposite side of the wall from where that water pipe broke. So by the time I found it out, the carpet was soaked in both rooms. The artwork was ruined, and a lot of other stuff was ruined too. And
Mhm.
just had to be, it. By the time I discovered it, it was too far gone. I just had to dispose of it. There's no way to dry it out and salvage it. And I really
That's
hate
what
that.
that's what happened to a lot of my comics that I collected when I was really young. We we moved up here. I had them all in a box, and when they came up, Mom thought, well, he's already read them. He's not going to read them anytime soon. So she put them down in the basement of our new house, which was like the basement of the Munsters.
Mm-hmm.
And the basement flooded, and about 2/3 of the comics were history because of that. And I got one 1963 Batman annual left out of that, which was the oldest one. But, those things happen, and
Yep.
some things aren't meant to be forever, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And then some things aren't meant to be forever, fortunately.
Yeah, some things happen for the best, but there's been a few things I'd like to have back.
Yeah. I wish that I had never sold my 1960s childhood comic collection that went back to the days when comic books were 12 cents a piece.
Hmm.
And then I have mixed feelings about this. My first wife sold my third comic book collection with what was left of my second comic book collection. I'm glad that it went to people that actually would appreciate it. I wish that I had been able to keep it, but at least it got it out of her hands.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then on the positive side of things like that, I actually before my teenage years on up through my late 20s, early 30s, I had this enormous Beatles collection of albums, singles. I had the bobbing head Beatles. I had a Beatles tray. I had a John Lennon listen to this bumper sticker and a John Lennon listen to this button. I had all sorts of things. And when I got married, and one year I talked over with my wife, I said, let's pay off some bills. Let's give the girls really nice Christmas, and let's have a little bit of a bank account after Christmas for a change. And so I put my whole entire collection, into a antique mall down in Rockville, Indiana, and it eventually all sold. Got some good money out of it, and we put it to good use. And I sometimes think about, oh man, I wish I had my bobbing head Beatles back, or I wished I had this or that or whatever. But like you said, I know that they went to good homes. The people who were just as much of a Beatles fan and collector as I was, but still am, if not more. And maybe this is something that they never had in their collection. And
yeah,
that's what I used to go to Chicago for. I don't go there for that reason now, but yeah, we used to go to Chicago to go to Cubs games and park up at Wrigley Field. And that was back when no lights were in Wrigley Field, so pre-1988. And we would ride the L trains all over Chicago and go down Lincoln Avenue to a place called Wax Tracks that had all the wonderful record and television and movie memorabilia and collections. And yeah, I paid $40 for my whole set of bobbing head Beatles from Wax Tracks, and turned around and sold them for, I think it was $450 or $460. I can't remember exactly now because that's been too long ago, but somewhere to that amount. And so, but, I look at it this way. We may not have everything in the entire world. I know this is the same Batman and Robin cup that I had when I was a little kid. I did manage to hang on to that as much as I managed to hang on to my Batman cup there, which I keep my peppermints in now.
I think I have a hoarding problem, guys.
Well,
I have the same. So I have right above me is my carousel from when I was a baby. And then next to it, I have a bunch of my stuffed animals. But the couch that's behind me is from my childhood. The entertainment stand and the TV are the ones that I had in my bedroom when I was a little girl. The desk that I'm using currently, this is the first desk that we ever had for our first computer that we ever had. We don't still have the computer because the computer obviously stopped working a long time ago. But like this is the first desk I ever owned, and I literally have a 65-inch big screen TV. No, it's not. It's like a 50-inch screen TV right next to me, but it's a big box screen TV from my childhood living room. And then all of the furniture that is in my living room is the furniture from my childhood, and the cabinet that's in my living room is my grandma's cabinet that I grew up with. So like everything in my house is like original from my childhood.
So you got a lot of antiques, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have a lot of my family's antiques here, which is I'll never want for furniture again because of that. The last thing I really bought brand new was a table to put my big screen TV on because nothing else I had in the house would hold it other than this dresser behind me. And obviously it stays in here and not in the living room. But yeah, that's part of cherished memories and that. And there's nothing wrong with latching on to some stuff like that. However,
I could almost recreate my entire childhood bedroom.
Yeah.
That's kind of a scary thought.
Imagine having three
they
generations.
don't make that kind of paneling anymore.
Yeah. Imagine
my
having.
room was just painted like so my first real bedroom, because I slept on a couch for most of my childhood because I was between my mom's house and my dad's house, so I didn't really have like a bedroom. So I didn't get a bedroom until I think I was around 11 years old. And my first bedroom, I had like a lavender color on the walls. So it's not that hard to recreate my bedroom. But I wish I still had my I actually do have my set of bed sheets from them. I don't have the actual blanket, but I have the pillow covers and the actual blanket and stuff like that, or the actual sheet. I don't have the actual blanket, but so yeah, I could pretty much create it. But that's my that's my last one before I left that house, because the original one, I wish I still had it, and I wish I could find a replacement. But I had a pink duvet and blanket and everything like that that had a tea set on it, like just little teacups and a tea. It was gorgeous. And
check eBay.
Hey.
Yeah, I probably should. But I don't know what I would do with it now.
Yeah, I lost all of my childhood collection of Tom Swift Jr. hardback books. Got stolen.
Oh.
In a burglary.
Mm-hmm.
And I know exactly who did it, and I know exactly where they wound up being sold, but I was never able to recover them because I was on a 2-week vacation at the time the burglary happened. And by the time I got back home and found that the burglary happened, it was too late. But I went on eBay and I got every single book in that series.
Okay, I gotta look it up.
including the ones that I never owned before. So I finally got all 33 books in the series. I only had about 18.
I think the only one I've ever had of his was Tom Swift and the Flying Machine, I believe it was, or was that Tom Swift Jr.?
The ones I had were Tom Swift Jr. And
Okay.
if yours was a Tom Swift Jr., there was probably the Flying Submarine.
I think this was just called the Flying Machine, and I still have the book in my barrister bookcase. But
that would have been Tom Swift Sr.
Oh, okay.
Just called Tom Swift. Flying Machine, Electric Rifle. That's where we get the name Taser from now. Tom Swift,
my main
Electric Rifle.
My main thing about all this is, we're talking about all these wonderful things we've had, or maybe still have, or wished we had again from our childhood. And yeah, there's a lot of things I wished I still had from my childhood. And I'm not even talking about toys either, which is a first, but just a lot of different things. But mostly I wished I still had my family. And I can't replace that. I will see them again someday when it's my time to go to heaven, and I'm happy with that. Unfortunately, I had to make a move a while back, and I had inherited 3 generations of my family's furniture and belongings, and I had to downsize. So some things were easier to get rid of, and then some things were not. And I had to really make a lot of decisions of which to keep and which not to keep. And like I say, I have a lot of my parents and grandparents' antique furniture. Some things that I know, okay, this is usable. This is a china cabinet, or this is a library table, or whatever. It's I need that. But there were other things that it was really, really hard. And I will tell you, it will either make you a better person or it'll tear you down, one of the two. If you ever, and I hope none of you ever have to go through it. But I had to. And so even though I had to get rid of some things, I started choosing where they went.
Yeah.
And so first and foremost, it was for people who were helping me move. Then it was they were doing a restoration of our historic Fisher Theater here. I donated a bunch of my mom's collectible glassware in China, and that to be auctioned off for money for the restoration of the theater, and several other things like that. But it's at some time or another, you want to say, after all the kids are grown up and they're moved out and they're living their own lives, and you given them things to have their lives, which I'm sure you will, Keisha, someday when Dolores is up and the other kids, and you got, okay, hey, this is something we've had in our family for a long time, Dolores, and now it's yours, and to carry on the tradition.
Take care of it.
Yeah, take care of it, please, but then my predicament was I was the last surviving member of my family. Yeah. So I had nowhere to go with it. So it's one of those situations where, do you wait until what happened to me to wait on some things, or do you deal with it a little bit at a time, day in, month out, a little bit this year, a little bit next year. I know when I was over to Carl and Donna's house a few months ago for Donna's birthday party, she was showing off all of her Colbert blue glass collection. and that she had in her dining room. And she's telling me she's writing names of all her family members and loved ones that this piece and that piece and the other piece is going to.
Mhm.
And she's doing it ahead of time so that somebody else doesn't have to. And it's kind of a smart thing, to a certain degree. And but
It just depends on your circumstances and
Yep.
how you're able to deal and what you're able to deal with.
well, our last trip to Chicago, I spoke with Laura about this at great length. Initially, not so much for myself, but we were talking about somebody else. But I did turn around and I told her, I said, I need to make a living will, and not just one that you can just pull up off the internet for whatever, but a good ironclad one, for numerous reasons. But when it's my time to go, I told her, I said, as far as the burial expenses and all that, that's already taken care of. Nothing to worry about there. But there will be issue with dealing with what I have left here, and I know that will be either up to her or Jenny, her little sister that I call my little sister too, or maybe by then it might be my niece Kayla dealing with it, or somebody. You don't know, but either way, it's always good to plan for the future, even if the future may not be like the one that you're wanting to plan for. But it's stuff that you need to get done at some point or another.
I've made a couple of steps in that direction myself. I have recently appointed an executor of my literary estate. All the stuff that I've written, all my notes, everything. This guy is going to wind up with it, and the mandate that I have given him is that if I predecease my wife, then he is to make sure that she does not get cheated, and whatever is able to be published can be published, and she gets the royalties as long as she lives. And after that, then something constructive should come of it. I mean, there are certain things that I would like to have turn into a shared universe that he will be responsible for letting people play in the playground. And I mean, I've created a couple of really, really nice literary playgrounds for people to be in, and this has paid off. My Spaceport Bar series, there are over 100 stories by about 25 to 30 different writers, and mine number less than 25 of those. I'm writing more. It's going to get my part's going to get bigger, but it's always supposed to be a shared universe. This playground is open to other writers to play in, as long as they don't, destroy the playground equipment.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't mess up my swing set, okay? I like it.
Hey guys, I gotta go check to see what that is. I think I hear my daughter, but
Oh, she's just talking to the ghost again.
honestly, probably, I don't know. I smudged the house today, so maybe that helped. But I will talk to you guys later, and you guys take care.
Thank you for joining us
Thank you
today.
very much, Keisha.
Yeah,
It's always a pleasure.
You are welcome anytime you feel like joining in, and we're late enough to where the kids should be asleep if they know what's good for them.
Yep.
All right. Well, you guys have a good night.
Yep.
I'll
Take
talk
care.
to you guys probably like super soon because that's generally how we work.
Yeah.
All right.
Tomorrow
You
night,
guys take
maybe.
care.
Good night.
All right. Good night.
Night. She is such a wonderful person.
Oh yeah.
She really is.
Positive attitude, and that's kind of what we need a little bit more of these days.
Very creative
Ouch.
and productive too.
Despite the ghosts in the house and the chickens and the coyotes and everything
Yeah.
going on over there in Varna.
The aliens in the cornfield and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, guys, we have been really, really lucky with the sheer number of people that we know and how many of them are creatives. I mean, we have been blessed. We have really been blessed, all of us.
And have a vast, wide range of experiences and interest and tastes that we get to hear about, and some of it's shared, some of it's
You put it exactly right. Yes.
not
Some of
shared,
it
and some
share.
of it is going to be shared.
Yeah, some of it we can share and some of it we can just appreciate, and some of it we don't know about yet, but we'll find out later.
Exactly.
You'll hear all about it on the scanner.
Yeah. Car 54, see the man.
You know, I remember when I was at Georgia State, one of my college buddies worked in the cashier's office.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had to take the deposit, naturally campus police, escorted him to the bank to make the deposit. And
Is there a $2 bill involved?
no, but I remember one time he said he was riding in car 52. He said, well, you'll get too bored, you'll have car 54.
Did they get the joke?
Yeah, I think they did, because I think they were old enough. This has been a while.
Back in mid-late 80s, Danville, where Carl and Donna live, and they can confirm this if they were out there, our local DPD, they had an Adam 12.
Oh.
For the longest time, they ran the Adam numbers through 11 and jumped it to 13 because they did not want to have a 12. And somebody said, well, there are Adam numbers at the time it was in Vermilion County, Indiana, which we're in Vermilion County, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And they had more of the upper end Adam 15s, 17s, 20s on up that way. They had 3 more cars to put into the rolling stock. And so they had to put in an Adam 12. And it was really interesting hearing the calls on there for that, because you really thought, oh, somebody's goofing off or whatever, but no, it actually was. And they don't anymore. They don't do any Adams on there now, which they've actually encrypted their scanners for Danville Police Department because the criminals were listening to see where they were at, and then they were going over and robbing gas stations and what have you on the opposite end of town.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of my wife's friends from her church group is a real big scanner junkie, basically. Yep. I mean, this lady listens to the scanner like we would watch MTV back while they still showed, music videos. It's 24/7. the scanner is on. She's been complaining everything's encrypted now. She can't tell where the police cars are, where they're going, or what they're doing. This was her entertainment. I mean, this was her soap opera, basically. And now
I know somebody that's like that too, and he's actually, because he is a techno geek, he's actually broken the encryption over there. Yeah, and he says it sounds a little off freak, a little bit, but he said you can pull it in good enough to understand it. And I said, I hope you don't tell that to too many people.
This is true, yeah, because the reason they went to the encryption was, like you said, the bad guys were listening in and go, okay, they just got a call to a burglary over here on this side of the county. Let's go rob a bank on this side of the county.
And see, typically I could still figure out what's going on with Danville Police because the fire department and rescue are not encrypted. So a lot of the same calls are going through there. Mm-hmm. And either because it involved them or they're assisting. So it's not too awful tough to figure out, but I don't listen to the scanner the way back in the 80s. I'd listen to quite a bit of it. And my dad, being a ham radio operator, was kind of a scanner junkie as well for a little bit. We had Bearcat in the house forever. Forgot it, Radio Shack. But anyway, but now, of course, you can just, pick up the old smartphone and tune into Broadcastify and then just punch in your hometown or a county or whatever, and it'll pop up all the ones that somebody is broadcasting over Broadcastify, long as they're on there, and you'll be able to see how many listeners are in there, and it's basically works just as well, actually, if not better, really, because it's coming in over the internet, so you're not getting all the static or skip or anything else coming in on it the way you would the old-fashioned way.
Yep. There was a time when I thought, having a scanner around here would come in handy for severe weather stuff and things like that. I mean, we've got weather alerts. I've actually got a little portable weather alert radio that will, even when it's supposedly turned off, you can punch a button to where it will sit on the shelf for months and then get a tornado alert, and it will come along like a Amber Alert on your cell phone. It will pop up and start screaming at you. Now, the main reason that I don't keep it set up like that is because it's so many months and months and months, and sometimes years in between something like that that's relevant that actually happens, that I would be putting batteries in it like every 6 months just to maintain the emergency alert system built into it.
And it's something you're going to see on your phone or computer or TV or hear on the radio anyway.
Well, yeah, and we've got one of those battery plug in a wall wart hand crank weather alert radios too for emergencies. And the only problem I have with that is after a while, the rechargeable batteries that go with the hand crank no longer keep a charge for more than a few minutes, and you've got to buy regular batteries to put in it.
Mhm.
So that gets you're thinking you're buying this thing and it'll always be good. You just crank it up. No, the rechargeable batteries that go with the hand crank do not last forever.
Laura's dad loves to have the radio on, news all day, all night, if he could. Now we got cable over there for him, and so he'll turn it on the TV. But she bought him this great big, expensive, beautiful Bose radio that he can just tap the top of it and it'll turn it on and turn it off. And he goes to this old battery powered, I think it's an old General Electric AM FM radio from the 1990s, probably. And he doesn't care. And I said, do you want me to see if I could find a DC cord to maybe plug that in and then you won't have to use battery? No, when batteries go dead, I'll just buy more batteries. And he just, which kind of surprises me because he's a Depression era baby. And so they kind of reuse a lot of things. And I'm surprised he wouldn't try to want to have something that would have contain NiCad batteries or something rechargeable, that he could continue to use instead of getting more. But that's one of the few things he doesn't care about.
Where'd Dan go?
I believe he had to, well, he didn't say take 3 steps. So I think he had to do the one that takes more than 3 steps. So
yeah.
And it's going to be sign off time here in about 10 minutes anyway.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
trying to stay for the full shows tonight because I won't be able to come in on Saturday again. We're leaving early Sunday morning to go up north again and got things to do and a lot of work to do. So
yeah, that happens. It's that time. Growing season's about to start again, and it has started in some places.
Yeah.
Well, we bought a new lawnmower to go up there, but the problem was we had to have a place to put it. So you had to move 5 things to make room for one.
Yep. That happens sometimes.
Yep. I've got to see if my riding mower will crank up this year. This will be the 3rd year on the original battery. So I don't know if it's going to work.
Well,
I'm hoping it does. If it doesn't, I know how to change a battery. No big
Thankfully, riding mower batteries are not all that expensive.
No, they're not. No, they're not. And they're pretty decent as far as lifetime goes. I've got a little teeny tiny solar panel that'll do for a trickle charge, but I hate to do that because, when you put 2 dissimilar conducting metals together, one of them corrodes away. Usually that's the battery terminal. And you wind up having to replace the battery when all you wanted to do was keep it charged up during the winter.
Yeah.
I can't remember where it was, though. Here just yesterday, it was either a television ad for Rural King or Blaine's Farm and Fleet, where they have batteries for riding lawnmowers for $19.99 right now. Now, the charging power on it, I'm not too sure what it is. They don't really go into detail about it, but other than the fact that it's a $20 battery. But so I'm buyer beware, but still.
I used to go to several different shops to get batteries for things, depending on what they were. Now I just go down to the local Batteries Plus. If they don't have it, they can have it the next day.
Yeah. Well, we got a wheelbarrow that we were getting for Laura's dad. He wanted a 2-wheel wheelbarrow, but he wanted a steel tray and not a poly tray. He does not like poly trays, even though they would be lighter. He wants a 2-wheel one, so he has more control of it, because he is 87 years old and he's goes around and picks up sticks in the yard and things, and to get ready for when our mowing season starts, which who knows when that'll be right at the moment. But
Probably.
we got possibility of snow tomorrow morning early, believe it or not. Not like it's going to stick, but still. But so ended up finding one for Ace Hardware.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to have them. Well, they have 2 stores in Champaign, and apparently the inventory was off on both. So one was supposed to be shipped there and supposed to got there today. Did not. Now it's going to be next week, but I'm going to have to put it together anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But long as it gets done prior to her surgery, and then because the wheelbarrow he's using right now is Laura's aunt's wheelbarrow, which it's kind of an antique, late 60s looking wheelbarrow that she kept in really good condition, and we want to continue to keep it that way.
Yeah, I've got one that I got 30 years ago when I first bought the house, and the tire will no longer hold air. I've got a replacement solid rubber tire to go on it. But here last year, the wooden handles finally have gotten old enough to where one of them broke. I'm just going to have to get fiberglass handles to go on this thing. I've got another wheelbarrow that has fiberglass handles and a solid rubber front tire. And it's a perfectly good wheelbarrow. If I fix up the other one, we can have 2 perfectly good wheelbarrows, or I'm going to wind up taking the darn thing apart and just using the metal bed from it to grow potatoes and carrots in or something. You know,
a lot of those parts are fairly interchangeable, because the way they sell wheelbarrows anymore anyway, you buy the tray, the handles, and then you have the parts kit box that contains the tires and all your hardware. And but like this one that Laura got at Ace Hardware, it's, like I said, it's a 2-wheel with a steel tray, but it actually has steel handles. And this thing was very, very reasonably priced. Everything else that I saw over at Lowe's and Menards, there was no, they either had a poly tray in it, or if they had one that had steel tray. Well, Lowe's had 2 different ones with steel tray. One was a Cobalt brand, and I forget what the other one was. But anyway,
Cobalt's the new one I've got.
Okay, yeah, the Cobalt brand, they were wanting $176 for that 2-wheel one, and because of the steel tray. And I think it had fiberglass handles with it. I'm not sure. The other one had wooden handles, and they wanted $150 for it. And I'm like, whoa. And of course, unlike Menards that runs the 11% sales all the time, Lowe's don't do that. And I asked them, I said, are you going to have a sale? Or, I mean, having worked there before, I know that they know about a sale a couple days ahead of time before they got to set it. But but they said, no, not right now, because this is, peak season for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make as much money as they can.
Oh, yeah. They might mark something down when it's, end of the season or something.
Ace has got some good stuff.
They do. And I know her dad likes it a lot. So, and this is silver and red, very sharp, and it says Ace on the side of it. So he's going to like it whenever we eventually get it.
Well, I know Ace and Lowe's are the only ones that can sell Craftsman now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
unfortunately, Craftsman's not what it used to be.
No, it's not. But I miss Sears and I miss Kmart, but that's a long discussion for another day.
Yeah.
It is about that time, gentlemen. So I'm going to go ahead and bow out and wish y'all a good night and have a safe trip up to Chicago Sunday morning.
Thank you. Yep.
And take care of yourself, Bill. Have a great Friday, Dan, Bill, and until next time, I'll see you then.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Dan, I'll probably see you in the green room tomorrow night. Might even be a little bit earlier because I know Laura's got to work Saturday morning. So her dad actually went to the auction with us last week, first time in about 4 months, and he bought some really nice stuff to occupy his time with. So, but we'll see how long we stay. But last week I had her 87-year-old father has a smartphone for the first time in his life. So that's the reason why I wasn't in the green room last week. I was setting it up.
You're going to teach him how to use the smartphone. All right.
I am. He already knows how to take pictures and how to access the weather and the radar. So we're working on it.
Hey. And teach him how to send a text. And
Yep. Oh, yeah. He wants to learn that too, because Laura and I texting each other and texting Jenny and that. So he definitely does.
The only thing more useful than a phone and text and weather alerts is solitaire.
Oh, yeah. Actually, because I know he won't play any of those games, I uninstalled them from the phone. But one thing I did install on the phone was a classic landline ringtone, so that when it rings, it sounds like, and I let him listen to it, and he had a nice smile on his face. So
Yep. That's one thing I miss about mine. The only reason I haven't changed it is because almost everybody that's my age has got a regular telephone bell ringtone.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to tell when somebody's actually calling me. So I just leave it on the default. It's a goofy thing, but it's most people change it. So I left mine alone just to be different.
I have a Motorola, and if I left mine on default, it would have that woman saying, "Hello, Moto," and I hate that. But I'm one of those people that have the classic landline ringtones on mine. But I also have vibrate, and because I have the smartwatch, it'll ring on my watch as well, which I can answer it on there just like Dick Tracy. Mm-hmm. But so I'll know when it's mine and when it's somebody else.
I'm thinking strongly about getting the Bluetooth Star Trek communicator that mates with your cell phone. Mm-hmm. So when your cell phone goes off, you can, Kirk to Enterprise, Yeah, I would absolutely love that, especially if it went off in the middle of a convention somewhere where people would appreciate the nostalgia for it. But yeah, we're getting right to we're over the time. So um,
We're running a little late, as they would say.
yeah, well, we usually do.
Yep.
Bill, it's been wonderful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I'm going to say good night, and you be safe on the trip to
Thank
Chicago,
you.
and come back safely. And best of luck on all the medical stuff that you're going there for. And
Yeah.
best of luck to the your. Oh, now I've forgotten the relationship. It's not your father-in-law.
Just say Laura.
Laura's dad.
Yeah. Oh, is her dad? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And Laura
And
herself too. Yeah.
yeah, we all got things going on with us medically. Doggone it, you'd think we'd be in better health, but that's part of getting into better health, I guess.
Are you kidding? Since the 50s, I've been surprised that I'm alive every day and not a glowing cloud of radioactive gas from World War III
Well,
breaking out.
mine is due to low white blood cell counts on there. So the reason for the biopsy, they ruled out leukemia, AIDS, all the real scary stuff.
Yeah.
But the hematologist said that taking the blood for the bone marrow would be sure all, yes, it's nothing, as opposed to no, there's something going on.
You know what you're going to find out? You eat too much candy.
Yeah. Well, because of being a vegetarian, that it's thrown things off a little bit. But
yeah,
drinking the vitamin water that has 100% B12 helps out, and so does the folic acid supplements that I take as well. And they're supposed to be pulling those counts back up some, but I know that some people normally have a lower white blood cell count, but it is actually normal for those people. I want to see if I'm one of those people or not. And if not, what do I got to do to do what I need to do? So,
well, you take care, and we'll see you if not tomorrow night. Well, you said you can't come on Saturday, but
can't come Saturday, but
we'll see you whenever you can. And thank you very much. It's always a pleasure.
Same, Errol. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
and
certainly, it's my pleasure.
So anyway,
let's tell the story, and it's not of a man named Jed.
Yeah.
But one of these days, I'm going to start changing the story in the outro, but people are going to get upset if I do. That's why I leave it. But,
we're all creatures of habit now, Dan.
Yes, I know. Most of my habits are bad. Good night, Bill.
Good night. Bye, con Dios.